All right, welcome back for another episode of the Park City Real Estate Podcast. I'm honored to be joined by my good friend today, Michael Hatz, a fellow patriot, Park City's friendliest realtor, and you'd be hard-pressed. I'm going to start this podcast with a challenge. I challenge anybody to find someone who can match Michael's energy, enthusiasm, just overall joy for life. Michael, how the heck are you?
I am fantastic, Esteban, and I'm excited to be here with you doing this. First time ever.
First time being interviewed for a podcast.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Maybe many more to come, right?
I hope so.
You're just a natural on camera. And something that I'll bring up right away. You were previously on a show called American Dream TV,
right?
Because of your extensive experience in real estate, and just kind of just your natural ability to help your clients, and so they actually welcomed you onto their show.
Yeah.
Which I believe we're moved on from that already.
Yes.
But so here we are, Park City Real Estate Podcast.
Awesome.
So let's go ahead and start off, Mike, by just talking about your real estate background. What got you into real estate when you first started?
Oh my gosh. Well, I would say it's pretty accidental. I know we've talked about
like
this.
Most of us.
Yeah,
right?
we talked about this, in detail a long time ago. But so I'm from Canada, as you know, and I went out to do a ski winter in Whistler, British Columbia, back in the late '80s. And that one winter turned into 10 years of my life, which, of course, instilled in me the love of...
So you went there and you stayed?
Yeah, I went there for the winter.
Uh-huh.
And the proverbial, you go for the winter, stay for the summer. And so it was winter, then summer. And it's like, wow, it's winter again. Might as well stay another winter. And then that just, it just stayed that way for 10 years.
For 10 years. And,
yeah.
And then now I think you've just had, because you kind of traveled around in resort destination, kind of mountain town destinations just after that experience too. Where all
Right.
have you been, and how long have you been in real estate?
Yeah. Well, going back to that story, it's like, I was riding a chairlift one day. I was doing some work on the mountain. I was a volunteer, and I was riding a chairlift and talking to a couple of gentlemen. They were talking about, one of them was mentioning their daughter was in the industry of timeshare, and that she was making a whole bunch of money. And I went, timeshare? I thought that was like an illegal activity, like
some scam or
some kind of
right?
scam. Yeah. And so I remember this so clearly. It was a Thursday, and that day the local paper came out, the Whistler version of the Park Record kind of thing. And there was this ad for a timeshare company seeking marketing people or marketing help. And I responded to the ad and got hired and got into the world of timesharing, which led me into sales. And then, it is a form of real estate, and that's kind of how I got my start, and eventually got into, the general real estate field that we're in.
General residential. And so where did you meet this gentleman that you ran into him?
I was riding a chairlift at Whistler Mountain in British Columbia, and it's just crazy how that conversation led to my eye caught the ad in the paper that day, and next thing you know, I'm looking into working in the timeshare world, which ended up being, my gosh, that was in 1993 or 4, and I stayed in that industry till literally I moved here in 2003.
So you did it for 10 years. And then when you came here to Park City, you switched to residential, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I did come here to Park City because of the opportunity with Marriott Vacation Club.
Okay.
I was working with Marriott Vacation Club down in Palm Desert. Mm-hmm. And so after falling in love with Park City, the Marriott Vacation Club welcomed me on their sales team here, kind of at the end of their sales cycle because the resort was being sold out. So I kind of knew I could continue indefinitely with the Vacation Club career.
When you came here.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I knew I was going to have to find something else, because once the inventory was sold out, then I'm out of a job and I'm not leaving Park City. So.
But you're going on 20 years now here in Park City.
Yeah.
And obviously no plans of leaving anytime
No plans
soon.
to leave. The transition to real estate has worked out real well.
It has. Well, going back to like when we first started selling those timeshares, what I love about that story is it kind of like mixes your two passions. As far as I know about you, you were on the chairlift when you first started talking to the gentleman.
Exactly.
So your first passion, right, or that passion for skiing,
Yeah.
which I mean, you probably have more ski days, or you have a lot of ski days, when it's stacking up to others.
I've got a few, that's for sure.
But you tie in your ski days with your showings too, right? Your ski and ski out properties, kind of showing your clients and all that.
Yeah, we've done a few cool videos doing that. It's always fun.
Yeah, cool. And so 20 years, Park City Real Estate, and I like that story too of like how you decided to come to Park City, like because there's a little bit more than just Marriott Vacation, decided to hire you. So how did that decision come about? In a little bit more detail.
Right. So back in my days in Whistler is where I met my future wife, who happens to be an American citizen. And so after getting married, of course, the opportunity for a great adventure popped up with her saying, "Hey, how about we move to the U.S.?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." Absolutely. There's no other way for me to get into the U.S., legitimately. So, yep, as married to an American citizen, we came over to the U.S. to eventually. The goal was to find another mountain town to establish ourselves and our lives, because Whistler was a phenomenal experience and an amazing community that I'd never thought I could duplicate that. And not only did we duplicate that by living in Park City, but certainly surpassed it. It's been an amazing experience spending the last 20 years in this town. And so, we kind of bounced around a little bit. And the nice thing with that time-sharing industry is the resorts are always in cool locations. And so I had the opportunity to work in New Mexico, in the Palm Desert, Palm Springs area, and then eventually here to Park City. But it was the amazing exposure that the networks gave Utah, Salt Lake, Park City in 2002 with the Olympics that caught our attention. And we were living in Palm Springs at the time, and every day we watched the Olympics, Winter Olympics on TV, and said, we got to go visit Park City.
That might be our mountain town, right?
That might be our mountain town. That was exactly how we were thinking. Yeah.
Awesome. And you've now you've sold real estate here. You're for plenty of years. I mean, you were in Silver Creek for a while. Kind of established residency there, which is one of the great communities in Park City.
Yes.
But you also, so you've been here long enough where buyers kind of go to you when they're wanting to really understand the neighborhoods, the lifestyle, and the just everything that you look for when you're looking for your mountain home.
Right.
So could you tell us a little bit more about, I guess, just kind of the neighborhoods that you've sold in recently, kind of Park City in general, and what you love about kind of our town here? Yeah,
absolutely. Well, and that's what's so I think so special and unique about Park City is the neighborhoods really vary, and there are so many different options and characteristics based on what someone's looking for. And even though our market, of course, like every other market, has taken off, there is still a price point for everyone here. There is still stuff that's affordable. And then there's the ultra luxurious high-end real estate, everything in between. I did have the privilege of living in Silver Creek for several years, which is the most unique neighborhood ever. It kind of feels very, very rural. It's different than the rest of Park City.
Talk about price points all over, right? That's, Silver Creek kind of represents that.
There's a real variety of price points there because Silver Creek does not have a homeowners association. Therefore doesn't have some of those restrictions that we find in other communities or neighborhoods. The lot sizes are larger there. They start in the lower area of the community at an acre or so, but then as you get higher up further back into the neighborhood, they can be as large as 30 acres, and you can have, of course, horses and those kinds of.
A few people calling it ranches. They have the ranches out there.
They're totally they're ranches, and you can have your chickens, and if you want to live off the grid, you can. But what's so amazing about it is all those homes, or pretty much all those homes, all face back towards us here in Park City. So the views from Silver Creek really are unrivaled. I mean, it's just breathtaking. And so, you have this little ranch with the most incredible views, and you're 10 minutes to the grocery store.
just right there, the grocery store.
Yeah. You've got biking and hiking trails right out your door. You've got skiing 15, 20 minutes away. I mean, it just doesn't get any better.
Yeah. Well, and so that's kind of, you want your rural, you want your space, you want your land, you want your views. Yeah. The sunsets from Silver Creek are incredible.
Yeah. And you want to be half hour from the airport.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing, right? You can jump to Florida. I know you've been going to Florida a lot recently.
Yeah.
Tell us about what's going on in Florida these days.
Well, Florida is a unique place. It kind of depends on where your thoughts are politically. It's
okay, we don't have to go into that. It's a real estate podcast.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Florida again, it's in the U.S.
Yeah,
and the idea of going to an environment that's tropical, warm, fun, and keeping my hard-earned dollars in the U.S. Has really been the motivation with Florida.
Okay,
and
gotcha.
Every time I go, I learn more about Florida and love it more, and maybe one day own some real estate down there.
Maybe down there, get some of that beachfront property.
Yeah, maybe get licensed down there.
You never know.
You never know.
Well, so I was actually, and this shouldn't be a surprise. Nothing should surprise me anymore. But there are a lot of people from Florida coming here, and they've been here essentially, right? So we've got a lot of Floridians coming, a lot of Californians coming, a lot of people from Illinois.
Yeah.
But where would you? So you work with a lot of buyers and sellers. I know that.
Yes.
So where would you say a majority of your buyers and sellers are coming from? Are they coming from out of state? Are they local? What would you say are kind of a majority of our incoming?
Yeah, the
citizens?
Overwhelming majority of our clients, of course, are from out of state, and then subsequently, the majority of those out of state clients are definitely coming from California.
Okay,
it's just that's our number one, what we call our feeder market, where we know people from California own real estate there, but they're also purchasing real estate in Park City because it's easy. The access again, so easy to get here. And it sure is a fun place to be.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up because it actually highlights a little bit of why you're with Engel and Volkers, and so we can talk a little bit about Engel and Volkers. I used to be there for a few years, and so Engel and Volkers has just probably the best network for our feeder markets in California. So talk to us a little bit about Engel and Volkers and why you're with them, choose them as a brokerage.
Yeah, that's great that you bring that up. My friend and mentor and CEO of our family of Engel and Volkers shops, Paul Benson, real visionary and one of the most incredible human beings I've ever had the pleasure of being associated with. Has had such a positive influence on my life. His mindset has influenced my mindset, and just his passion and commitment to a quality experience really has allowed our group of Engel and Volkers shops to expand now to over 30, with a large percentage of them being in California. And those shops were strategically chosen because of the fact that we know that there are consumers from those areas that are purchasing real estate here. And so we have a family of associates and advisors in Southern California in our various shops that we collaborate with, and a lot of transactions go back and forth. And it's always nice to be able to either call someone or walk into one of our shops and feel like we're family.
Engel and Volkers, that fantastic community, fantastic network that you guys have, and I know they also have they have an Engel and Volkers yachting, they have Engel and Volkers, aviation now, and commercial, and so they're and Paul as the CEO of the Gestalt Group, which Gestalt, what is that? What is the does that mean connected or something like that? Is that kind of?
I think that's what it means. I've looked that up, and you caught me off guard because I don't remember, but it's something along those lines.
Yeah, if I remember right from my time there, it was like all these the sum of all parts kind of making a whole, right?
Which kind of describes our our family.
Yeah, so
our business family.
You've got your shop, the Park City shop here in Park City.
It all started here.
Yeah, and then obviously the feeder markets that come in, which Long Beach, Beverly Hills,
Correct.
Napa,
Correct.
San Francisco, and all of that. So,
Yeah.
Now speaking of shops,
Yes.
I know your Instagram handle, your kind of where you have a lot of your presence and where you communicate sometimes with your clients when you're not talking to them on the phone or taking care of their problems directly is Property Shop Park City.
Property Shop Park City.
Yeah.
And I think you helped me come up with that.
Yeah, back when we were business partners.
That's right.
So Property Shop Park City is where they can find you on Instagram, right?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic.
And on Facebook as well. Property Shop Park City.
Yeah, and so I guess just one more thing on Engel Volkers,
Sure.
and kind of why we came up with that shop idea, is because it's kind of a boutique, like luxurious, bespoke service. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what's nice about the whole, Engel and Volkers is real estate and only real estate. Yes, there's the subsidiaries with the aviation and the yachting, but Engel and Volkers is all about real estate, and it's a company that came out of Europe and established itself here. First time that's happened in the real estate world, where a European real estate company moved into North America and set up shop.
Yeah.
And so it's a very refreshing approach. We use different terminology, like we don't call our locations offices, we call them shops.
Yeah.
And so things like that, which is it's a fun approach. But it's working really, really well, and we take a luxurious. We take the luxury approach and apply it to regardless of what the price point is. So it's a mindset of services, white glove servicing, and regardless of who we're working with or what price point we're working with, and it's a really refreshing mindset to work with.
Yeah. Well. I miss you guys sometimes.
Yeah.
but it is a great company and a great group of people to be connected with. So,
it sure is.
So your Property Shop Park City Instagram page is real estate. Like
Yep.
you focus on real estate. You post about your closings, real estate tips, and all of that. But you also mix it with your personal.
Sure.
So you post your personal. I know you got pictures of your kids and
Yeah.
that you share all the time, and
Of course.
you're like barbecuing for them sometimes. And but one of the things that you posted recently that I really I guess was passionate about and super happy for you about was you got your I don't even know the process because I was fortunate enough to be born here in the States.
Okay.
So, but I know you said you married an American citizen.
Yes.
And you wanted to come to the United States, but like, why? Why'd you want to come to the United States? How did the pathway to citizenship? Because I know you're on that path.
Yeah.
How did that play out, and where are you at in your journey right now?
Well, okay, great. That's really exciting. Prior to coming to the U.S., for a few years, I started to learn more about the history of how the United States was founded. And it's very, very different than kind of the mindset you're taught as a Canadian. As a Canadian growing up, young Canadian, I didn't really have a positive image of the United States, and I believe that there's a lot of misinformation out there. But I was fortunate to meet people that had a different mindset that sort of introduced me to a different perspective of America, and I started to study the history and the founding fathers and the ideas behind it, and that this is really America is the most unique country ever created, in the face of the world, the face of the earth, where we believe that our rights, our inalienable rights, come from our Creator and not from government, and certain rights come along with our Constitution. And as I started to understand that more and more, I became, as I joke, a very patriotic Canadian. And I always had the desire of becoming a citizen, but just with life getting in the way, I never really pursued it until a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, actually.
Okay.
I submitted my application for citizenship, And then about 2 months ago, I received my letter from the U.S. government that I was to show up for my citizenship interview. They have 100 questions that you have to study about America, and they're going to ask 10 questions on the test, and I had to get 6 right. And so I had my interview about a month and a half ago, and so I have been accepted as a citizen of the United States. And the next step is to be sworn in, and that I'm just waiting for my time for that to happen. And once that happens, I will be a proud citizen of the United States of America.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. Congratulations, brother. I know that's you're always decked out in the most patriotic gear, the 4th of July parties, right? So you won't be the most patriotic Canadian, you'll be the most patriotic American now.
Yeah.
So that's very exciting.
Yeah. Proudly wear the red, white, and blue. Absolutely.
How did the test go? Did you like pass all did you answer all the questions? Can we?
Well, that's a funny story. So, I'm all nervous because, what are they going to ask? But I did study, and a lot of the stuff, I already knew, which is kind of cool. But so they're asking the questions, and I'm answering the questions, and then the guy says, "Okay, that's it. Well done." I'm like, "Wait a second, that's not 10 questions." He's like, "Well, you're only supposed to have 6, right?" Oh, so I got my first 6 right. I'm like, "Well, come on, give me the other 4, man.
I want to see what the other
studying
4
for this. I want to get them all right."
You got a wealth of knowledge in the brains.
Exactly.
Test me, man. Test me.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. I imagine a lot of people who are born in the States who maybe don't share the same passion, maybe wouldn't be able to.
They should share the passion, because we do have an amazing. Just an absolutely amazing country. It's not perfect. Nothing is, because everything is run by human beings, and we know we're not perfect. Yeah. But there is no other place like the United States.
I agree. And so one of the things I love about your story and why I love just chatting with you and sitting down is because, to me, you do represent in so many ways living the American dream.
Yeah.
You are capturing it. You're helping your clients. You're passionate. You live with a zest for life that few people can match. Like that challenge that I issued at the beginning. So I do appreciate your example, your patriotism. Congratulations. Welcome to the brotherhood, the fraternité. And then I'd love to end there.
I mean, if I could say. I appreciate our friendship, because you went and you put your life on the line. You entered the service, and you serve your country as a soldier. And I'm glad that we're able to talk face to face. But you're willing to risk your life for this country, and I really appreciate it. And that's why I can have the lifestyle and this zest for life and excitement about being an American. It's because guys like you are willing to do that for us. So I really appreciate your service.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. There are a lot of people who put a lot more on the line than I did. Yeah. And we should we should thank them every day.
Absolutely.
Because we're able to seize on those opportunities, seize on the dreams that our forefathers conceived when this country was conceived and born. And like you said, it's not a perfect place.
Yeah.
But all of us working together to try and make it a little bit better, I think we'll make it what it needs to be.
Because freedom's not free.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. There's a price. There's a price, and people who kind of lead the way, they're putting things on the line every day.
Exactly.
So, all right. I want to dive a little bit more into some of the recent closings, as well as you've got probably one of the best properties under contract right now that's listed in all of Park City and Deer Valley specifically.
Yeah, very excited about that.
Yeah, so if you can, I don't know if you need to hold off until it closes, but tell us a little bit more about your under contract and then some of your more recent closings that you kind of feel like would give our listeners a good idea of Park City real estate.
Sure, and it's this is really special to me because this is a client that I met several years ago with an online inquiry, and we spent a lot of time talking about the market. We've looked at stuff over the years, And he was just waiting for the right opportunity to present itself. And I know that this client of mine really actually used to own a home in Deer Valley. And sometimes when you have something like that and you get rid of it, you kind of long for it to have it again. And so he really wanted to have something unique and special in Deer Valley. And so this home, it's ski in, ski out at the top of Deer Valley. The location is absolutely unreal. The views are phenomenal. And then the ski access to get to either down to Snow Park Lodge or Silver Lake Village is incredible. And anytime I'm up at the home and I'm walking around, I just get all excited because it is really the ultimate ski destination. But this home, very unique, but it's a little older. It's about 30 years old. So as beautiful as it is, it might need a little bit of touching up and a little modernization perhaps.
Gotcha.
And so the home had been on the market for a while and hadn't moved, and there was a couple of price increases, and the most recent, price decreases, not increases, decreases.
Sometimes people do that.
Sometimes people do that. Not sure why, but anyway. But after the most recent price reduction, that caught my client's attention, and we started to pursue it, and then we got to the point where an offer was imminent. So we submitted an offer. We did some negotiating, and we were able to come to terms, and that was very exciting. But then, of course, there's when you live out of state and you're purchasing a home of any caliber, you want to make sure you're making the right choice and right decision. So there's a lot that goes into due diligence, and so that's where, having been in this town for a long time and having the right connections with the right inspectors and service providers, contractors, roofers, we were able to navigate through our due diligence in a way that made my client comfortable. And there was a lot went into it, again, because of the age of the home. But everything checked out, and now he's ready to move forward and make it his.
You make it sound like it was easy, but it's probably easy for you. Maybe it wouldn't be easy for others. And that's just because, one, multiple years of taking care of this client.
Yes.
And two, a property that was pretty much unsellable for the sellers. You were able to package the deal, do the negotiation, and get it under contract for your buyer. And can I say where the home is in the community itself, or do we wait on that?
Yeah,
okay.
I think we can.
Okay, cool. So the home is in Bald Eagle Club.
Correct.
Which it's irreplaceable.
Exactly.
There's nothing else that's going to be built like it in all of Deer Valley, just
Correct.
because it's an established neighborhood.
Yes.
And how old is the home? How old did you say the home was?
Approximately 30 years.
30 years old?
Yes.
So 30 years old in the mountains, probably well-used home. There's probably a little bit of work that needed to be done to it.
Well, and that's one of the amazing things about this home is that it looks like it's never been used.
Yeah.
And so it's in really, really great condition as far as how much use it's had, traffic. But again, a 30-year-old home will have things that have deteriorated over the years. Things like the boiler system. A home like that has an absolutely incredibly complicated boiler system, both for the home and for the driveway. You can't just have anyone take a look at what the condition of the boiler system is. And I happen to have a relationship with a contractor who specializes in boilers and maintenance of boilers and repairs of boilers. And so, this individual, phenomenal. He spent over 4 hours in this home evaluating that boiler system and giving us, his perspective on what's needed versus replacing it. Because of course, replacing something like that would be very costly. But we can also repair it and bring it up to speed, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, that's kind of where deals start to get a little tentative, right, and a little kind of on the fritz, if you will, just because you have all these moving parts and pieces and older home, but you're able to keep it together, use those. The man's connected, Mike's connected. He's got the connections.
When you've been in town for a while, yes, you do. I have the privilege of establishing some wonderful relationships with just the best people in their fields, and that's something that I feel is important for my clients, to have the best experts to help them evaluate the home that they're looking to purchase. And
well, and my understanding is that, there's just real estate's so crazy right now.
it is.
So it's important to have those relationships, because they may not prioritize you.
Absolutely.
If you don't have those relationships, because they're so busy.
Absolutely, and I'm sure you've heard this often, that getting people to show up in this market is difficult, whether it's a plumber or an electrician or contractor or whatever. So that's half the battle.
that is half the battle, getting a hold of them and then getting them to show up, right?
And I feel so fortunate, so privileged that those who I've surrounded myself with, when I call them, they are ready to service my clients, and that's just an absolutely phenomenal position to be in. I feel very fortunate.
Yeah, well, and so that's on the buy side. You're representing a buyer that you've known for years, which, when we worked together as partners, the people that I would contact with you, like you had already been in contact with them for years and years. Yeah. So you really focus on those relationships and building those relationships. And I know, like, recently you've also had some where you represented the sellers as well.
Correct.
And so I think there was one in Old Town, and maybe it wasn't as recently as my memory's thinking, but tell us a little bit about your experience there in Old Town and helping your sellers in Old Town.
Well, and again, that's an established relationship with a dear family from Atlanta. We've become friends with our through our dealings with real estate. They've owned their home in Old Town for a few years. That started off as a second home, a place to come to from Atlanta, both in the summer and winter time. But due to COVID and some of the I think perspectives that got changed due to COVID, they decided to move to Park City full time. And so I had to find a replacement home for them.
Goodness gracious.
And
that's not an easy task.
Well, and in this market, with the lack of inventory, you're absolutely right. And they were very specific on what they were looking for and where. If they're in their minds, if we're going to live in Park City, then Park Meadows is where we want to establish ourselves and have our home. So we waited for the right opportunity in Park Meadows, and it presented itself. And then, of course, comes the juggling of selling the current home to be able to purchase the future home. And those sellers also had to sell their current home to purchase their future home. And then the family that purchased the home in Old Town also had to.
It's the domino effect.
Yeah, it was the most exciting and hair-pulling.
That's why
it's all gone.
That's why it's all gone.
So it was a very exciting but also challenging domino situation, and it just worked out perfectly. It was amazing how everyone cooperated, all the agents involved, all the buyers and sellers, property owners, everyone cooperated so well to make a very, very complicated situation as simple as it could possibly be.
Yeah, simplicity, but also, I guess that attention to detail, making sure that things are taken care of. And so the buyers for that, did you have multiple offers for the Old Town home? So when, because I know it sold really quickly.
Yes. We did have multiple offers, absolutely.
Okay, so you generated multiple offers, you picked the best offer, and then
correct.
I guess the rest is history, right?
The rest is history, exactly. And from what I've heard, the new owners of the Old Town home are extremely happy.
Extremely happy.
Yeah.
I guess just real quickly, I'd be curious to know, someone's coming to town for the first time, meeting a lot of people, or just like trying to get everything in Park City. What would be your recommendation for someone who's coming to town for the first time? Or, maybe what is the not to be missed activity or restaurant or store? What is it about Park City that you'd recommend?
Wow, well, that is such a loaded question because there's so many great things. But of course, if you've never been here, I would recommend if someone is looking at potentially acquiring a home, is to is to get with a real estate professional that knows the community and has been here for a long time, and help and have them help educate you on what's in Park City. But of course, I would say if it's for the first time, whether it's summer or winter, let's stay as close to Main Street as we possibly can, and spend as much time on Main Street as we can, because of course our restaurants and shops here are second to none. I don't know if you knew this, but statistically, we have more restaurants per capita here in Park City than any other town in this country.
I had no idea. I had no idea. Makes sense, though. That's probably why I haven't tried all of them.
I know, right? Been here for 20 years.
Yeah.
There's quite a few that I haven't been to.
So, great. Well,
but we definitely have to visit No Name Saloon and have a buffalo burger. We have to start there.
Good. Love my burgers. Very American, right?
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks so much, Michael, for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yep.